Hello, awesome people. What are you going to do to make today great? Welcome to my channel, New Beginnings. Oh, no, my wrong channel. That's my other channel. Welcome to my channel, Tranquility Through Life's Natural Beauty. Yes, why don't you check out my other channel as well? Let's see if we can put that up for you. Let's see here. So my other channel, if you haven't found it, is New Beginnings, My Everyday Life in Rural Cyprus, for additional content. And on this channel, have you found yet my new playlist where it's things on make, do, amend, declutter, reorganize, don't buy what you need, restock, and so on and so forth. And I think you can see my ceiling. I don't think you want to see my ceiling. So do go and have a look at that. I'm making a whole lot of videos on that. I have done declutter and salvage videos of both my channels. I will try to put the ones on this channel that I've already done into that file, into that playlist. But do go and check it out. I've got so many ideas. I've got so many I'm starting to put together. And I think it's something you will enjoy. So do go and check that out, and check out my other channel too. New Beginnings channel has a lot of salvage videos, repurpose, reuse, particularly in the garden, but elsewhere as well, and how I clean a lot of things up. And you've seen how I've cleaned up copper, that I found a big copper cooking pot. So do check out both channels. If there's something you're looking for and you don't know where to find it, or you don't want to go trailing through all my videos, for example, on my other channel, hugel culture, building raised beds, compost. If you want very specific videos, then do ask me and I'll just click up the URL for you in the chat. So if there's something you're looking for, do try that. Okay, let's start today. Let's do, what should we do first today? Let's begin. Let's find Friday's intros. That would be helpful. Let's begin straight away today with the current quote for Fridays. Okay, today let's begin with this. Okay, we're going to carry on with the story I've been reading about life in past times in an area where I had two houses. And this is in the past in the houses. This is the book I'm reading from. Anyone for tennis? Growing up in Wallington between the wars. Wallington is in Surrey, stroke South London. It's a very lovely place, very easy to get into town. So I used to jump on the train. I used to work in theatres in London, and you could be in the West End in 20 minutes easily. So this is the book I'm reading from. I'm just trying to find where we got up to. Let me see. I'm trying not to carry on with a bit I have read before. Let me read from here. On the opposite side of the road, various shops such as Shingles Dairy and Streets, the greengrocers, were patronised by us. And on the corner of Melbourne Road, there was a large branch of international stores. In Mother's girlhood, this had been privately owned by Mr. Dobby, whose daughter Elsie was one of her best friends to end of their days, even surviving their removal to the then faraway Haywards Heath in Sussex. I think that's where we got up to. Melbourne Road itself, apart from containing the public house of that name, was quite often visited by me on an errand to Pannett's the butcher's. The butcher's two daughters, Kitty and Flora, were great friends of my Aunt Renee, and I would sometimes see one of them sitting at the desk in the back of the shop making out accounts or giving change. Our one and only cinema at that time was the Gaiety, which was to be found further along Melbourne Road and was well patronised by us before the advent of the Odeon in later years. We had a lady to play the piano in those days of silent films, which added greatly to the emotional atmosphere of the dark, stuffy interior. Okay, I think I did read that bit. I just hadn't turned the page to put the mark in. So this is a picture of the author left with her two sisters, Joan and Peggy, in the garden of the Myrtles. And the Myrtles was the name of the house. So there's a picture there. We're starting a new chapter. Illnesses and treatments. At the first sign of a cough or cold, we children were kept away from school and tucked up warmly in bed, with the luxury in winter of a coal fire burning costily in the bedroom grate. I can still recall the delight of watching dancing flames and shadows on walls and ceiling when the light was at last turned out. If influenza or tonsillitis was suspected, Dr. Cressy would be sent for, and he usually prescribed the dreaded slops, which meant that we were to be given only such things as steamed fish, poached eggs, beef tea, milk puddings or jellies, and so on, until he called again a day or so. Hothouse grapes generally arrived if one was seriously ill, as well as comics to read and homemade barley water or lemonade to drink. None of your orange-flavoured, crudely coloured squash that passes as a beverage today. That's cordials. Many illnesses now regarded as mild and commonplace were real killers when I was young, and it was not unusual for a child to die of scarlet fever, diphtheria or pneumonia. In fact, I know several children and adults who did. Modern antibiotics and inoculations have thankfully taken the dread out of many illnesses since then. Whooping cough and measles, also chickenpox, were quite dangerous complaints, and strict isolation periods had to be observed by all members of one family. At the tender age of 6, I had to spend 6 weeks away from home in the isolation hospital at Beddington. That wasn't very far away at all, because I contracted scarlet fever, and Mother was only allowed to view me through a glass door when she came to visit me. My main memory of hearing some nearby hooter sounding the hour at noon with an intense shrieking noise, and being given what seemed like a non-stop diet of cold ham and boiled potatoes, most unsuitable for an invalid of that age with a fever and sore throat. Mother was allowed, however, to bring me jam, biscuits and fruit, so that helped console me. Then, when I was 12, my sisters and I caught the dreaded diphtheria, but Mother refused to let us be sent away to hospital. So a trained nurse was engaged at great expense, and between the two of them, plus the resident maid, we were nursed safely through the long weeks of fever. Disinfected sheets had to be hung over bedroom doors. All visitors had to wear white coats and face masks, and the whole house had to be fumigated by the local health officers at the end of the isolation period. Needless to say, there was no school for any of us for a whole of that term. People were endlessly kind with sending messages and gifts of fruit and flowers, since illness was quite a serious event then. I even remember hearing the news in hushed tones that straw had been spread over the road outside the house of one of my friends, while he lay despairingly fighting for his life with double pneumonia, in order that the noise of passing traffic should not disturb him. What was called the crisis was past. Of course, there was no question of rushing out to find a chemist who could supply the doctor's prescription, as his own errand boy would cycle up with medicine bottles, never tablets then, after the evening surgery, since doctors made up most of their remedies on their premises and often in view of the patients. Tranquilizers and sleeping tablets were virtually unknown, except in very severe cases, when bromide and morphia might be administered. In cases of nerves or depression, a strong iron tonic would be prescribed with the advice to pull yourself together, and lo and behold, it worked. At least we were not a nation practically addicted to drugs in some form or other, as seems the case now. Cod liver oil and viral were favourite remedies for winter ailments, much to our disgust, as we hated the taste of these items. I had viral when I was a child. It is detestable. It looks like, I guess most of you know Nutella now. We don't have that, but like Nutella, a sort of chocolatey, gooey substance you had to scoop out with a spoon, like treacle, but more like Nutella looking. And we had to have that every day. And we had Del Rosa, that was nice. You had that like a cordial, but again, once a day, and that was to keep you healthy. I think that was vitamin C. I think viral was vitamin D. I think that was vitamin D. And my mother insisted on it. Me and my older sister had to have it every day regardless, until my younger sister was born and she didn't want it. So we didn't have it anymore. In fact, we have very few things in our medicine chest in the bathroom, apart from fruit salts, cough mixture and liniments, plus iodine for cuts. The common aspirin had not, I think, been invented at that time, and I've lost my place. And we certainly did not include it in home remedies, having to endure headaches and other pains until they went away of their own accord. As for a visit to the local dentist, Mr. Sorday in Stafford Road, it was a point of honour to be brave and not cry out if you had pain, in contrast to the prevailing custom now of having an injection to prevent any minor twinges of discomfort. Thinking about ailments lends me to realise that there was very little social conscience about cripples or orphans and other fallen by the wayside. Most places had their village idiot, who was quite often harmless, if eccentric or backwards, and humoured by people. But such modern terms as spina bifida, spastic, autistic, and so on were quite unknown to us, or the conditions to which they refer understood. The thing that most moved me personally was hearing about the terrible state of lepers in faraway countries where the missionaries were apparently the only people trying to relieve their sad fate. How different today, when so many of those conditions can be controlled, if not cured, and when every schoolchild can help raise funds for the many good causes sponsored by television programs or national charities, and are so much more aware of third world and its problems. Reverting to orphans, one of the highlights of the afternoon walk in Wallington for me as a child would be to catch a glimpse of the little orphans, as we called them, namely the children from Beddington Orphanage of famous origin, housed in what is now called Carew Manor, who added a touch of drama to the scene by always wearing long coloured cloaks and bonnets when they were allowed out on occasional shopping expeditions, under supervision, of course. I fear I did not at the time realise the sadness of their situation as compared with the comforts of my own home. And I have a picture here. This says Orphans, an early 20th century postcard. And it's on the postcard, it says, a cartload of orphan girls from the Royal Female Orphan Asylum, Beddington. To call it an asylum, well, and there we go. And there's their bonnets. So let me know in the comments if you're enjoying this series. As I say, it's very good for me because it's exactly where I live for a large part of my adult life, in two properties. One was a Victorian property and one was Edwardian. And I will eventually be sharing those properties on this channel, make a whole series of the renovation I did on both of them. But that's some way off yet. So do look out for that in the future. Okay, let's go on and let's do this. So what subject do I have for you today? The quiz is always completely different subjects each week. Today we're going to do sharks. Ooh, sharks. So let's begin. I'm going to read them all first and then I will go back through them with the answers. If you're watching this back later, see if you can think of the answers before I get to them. The first question is, do sharks have the same set of teeth all their lives? Do sharks have the same set of teeth all their lives? Second question, do basking sharks live in warmer or cooler waters than whale sharks? Do basking sharks live in warmer or cooler waters than whale sharks? Question 3. The biggest great white sharks can grow up to 6 meters long. Is that true or is that false? The biggest great white sharks can grow up to 6 meters long. True or false? The next one. What is the name given to the tiny sea creatures that are food for the whale sharks? Be careful. What is the name given to the tiny sea creatures that are food for whale sharks? And the next one. Which is bigger, the basking or the great white shark? Which is bigger, the basking or the great white shark? And the next one. How heavy can a whale shark be? And I'll give you 3 choices. How heavy can a whale shark be? 11 tons, 21 tons, or 31 tons? 11 tons, 21 tons, or 31 tons? The next question. Do all sharks lay eggs? Do all sharks lay eggs? And the next one, I've just realised I keep doing this, my mouse I leave over my intros, so I might end up playing an intro again in a minute. The next question. The teeth of an individual shark are all the same shape. Is that true or is that false? The teeth of an individual shark are all the same shape. 2 more to go. Which shark is more likely to attack people? The great white shark or the hammerhead? Depends if he's got a hammer, I suppose. Which shark is more likely to attack people? The great white shark or the hammerhead? And the last question, do sharks ever resort to cannibalism? And that's eating each other. Do they ever eat each other? Yes or no? Okay, let's go through the answers. Always worth a guess. See how many you get. So add it up. What have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 questions. First question was, do sharks have the same set of teeth all their lives? The answer is no. And that's why you'll see people find shark tooths. It's not because they've bitten and it's fallen out. It's because they lose their teeth. Do basking sharks live in warmer or cooler waters than whale sharks? And the answer is cooler. The next question was, the biggest great white sharks can grow up to 6 meters long. Is that true or is that false? And the answer is true. The next question was, what is the name given to the tiny sea creatures that are food for the whale sharks? And the answer is, I wonder if you got this right, the answer is plankton. I bet some of you chose other options. It's plankton. Which is bigger, the basking or the great white shark? And it's actually the basking shark that is bigger than the great white shark. The next question was, how heavy can a whale shark be? 11 tons, 21 tons, or 31 tons? And the answer is 21 tons. Do all sharks lay eggs? And it's saying no, some give birth to live young. Some. The teeth of an individual shark are all the same shape. True or false? Yes, it's true. They're those little sort of jaggy triangle shapes. Which shark is more likely to attack people, the great white or the hammerhead? Of course, it's the great white. And the last question is, do sharks ever resort to cannibalism, eating each other? The answer is yes. Yes, they do. Oh. Okay, let me know in the comments below how you did, and we'll continue with this. So today I have a lot of questions about solar and living off grid. Some people think you can't run things on it. Some people think you're very limited to what you can run on it. Not completely so, but I thought I'd show you part 2 of a video I've got on my other channel, New Beginnings, My Everyday Life in Rural Cyprus, where I've got 2 videos that go through how we are set up for solar and what we use and how we can use it. So I'm going to show you part 2. If you enjoyed it and you'd like to see what else I showed you in part 1, then just drop me a comment, ask for the link, and I'll give you the link to that. So let's enjoy this footage. Let me just bring it up for you, and I'll see you on the other side to talk more. We use everything we can find to help create and repair and replace any old buildings. We found these shutters on the roadside, which are helping us to create doors. The first one for an outside toilet and the second one for an outside shower. Our utility block, which our workaways use. And as you can see, the bamboo we grow here, Mike is starting to finish creating a wall all around this area, and he's also going to put them on the ceilings. And yes, we do have an indoor shower and toilet, in case people ask, and they are normal shower and toilets. This is the outside shower he's making. He's just completed the tiling, stage 1. And next to it is the outside toilet. Yes, a proper toilet flushing. only because it was already here. So he's got to do this up, paint it, and finish off the window. And here at Off-Grid Living, we have bins for the toilet, because although these are flushing toilets, they go into the ground, into big pits, which don't need emptying, because ours are so huge, we were told they would last our lifetime. And obviously all the waste does decompose. So this is another outside sink in this utility area. So everything that our workaways use here is going to be ecological. If workaways want to, they could choose to use these shower bags for solar, which again will save on heating water. We only have a shower in our own home, in our house, and this obviously saves a lot of water. We collect a lot of water from the spring, which is what we use these containers for. As you can see, we have different boxes. We recycle everything. We don't have a rubbish collection here because we're rural, so we have to take them some distance to dispose of our rubbish. So therefore, but anyway, we recycle everything we can: bottles, tins, plastics, whole variety of things. And as I've said many times before, we also have a box here for paper. We recycle our papers many times as we can. We write on the back of envelopes or any old letters, so they get 2 uses there. And then after that, I shred them down by hand and I make them into mulch for my growing areas. So all paper and cardboard is reused. And here is some of the mulch on my hugel bed. One of my hugel beds, we grow as much as we can here. I'm always grateful to receive seeds of different varieties and different types of crops that I can experiment and grow, that you feel would help me, my lifestyle, or any eco things you'd like me to try. I will give everybody a shout out, and for any products, giving honest reviews. Some people seem to be confused by solar power, thinking you can't have normal things or normal life. This is our router for our Wi-Fi. So we do have Wi-Fi, which is essential for our Airbnb and our workaways to contact us. And we do have normal 3-pin plugs like England. We do have adapters here, so European guests can easily plug in their own devices. And so yes, we have normal lights and normal running water. As I've showed you, our water comes up from the borehole, pumped up by the generator, filled to the tank on the roof, and then we have normal hot and cold water because there's a panel up there that heats the water tank. Yes, we do have a full-size washing machine. When we have good power in the summer, we can use things like this coffee maker and the toaster. We wouldn't use things like a toaster when the power is really bad, say in winter, very early in the morning. Of all the products we have, toasters, hair dryers, the coffee maker and an electric kettle draw the most out of all the things we have electronic. In the winter, early in the morning, or when we don't have the generator on to top up the power, we would use one of these traditional coffee makers, but we use it just to boil the water. You can buy them in any sizes, 1 portion, 2, 3, etc. Or we would use our gas kettle rather than our electric kettle, which we would only use in the summer or on good power. Our oven is gas, only because electric oven would take too much power. And yes, we have a full-size fridge and a full-size freezer. We run 2 laptops at the same time, and I can run my YouTube with no problems. We can upload and download to a good percentage, literally all the time. Again, I wouldn't turn on my laptop at 6 o'clock in the morning. I will wait for some power to build up first. We have simple old-fashioned devices, as we find these don't actually draw as much power when charging, etc. Our telephones are literally that, telephones. They don't even have camera on, and I'll show you a picture of what I record on. It takes a lot of time to convert everything once we filmed, but this is all we can afford as we live on a tiny, tiny budget. The people close to us who know how much income we have cannot believe how we can afford our food that we buy weekly and our products. But if you're frugal enough, you can. And we're not people who go shopping for new clothes unless we need them. Can I also just say at this point, for those of you who don't know, that because I live in Cyprus, YouTube does not monetize any videos. So when I ask for subscribers and thumbs up and comments, it's purely to show me there are people out there that are appreciating my free time making these videos for your enjoyment. Therefore, we have had to set up Patreon and also go get funding sites. The Patreon is different tiers where if you link to that, you will see all the gratitude gifts we give you for becoming a patron to my channel. The reason we also have a Go Get Funding is to pay for certain projects particularly, and also for those who only want to give a one-off donation. Although Patreon, you can stop subscribing at any time. For Patreon, as it is more ongoing, although you can stop at any time, we give gratitude gifts to thank you for donating to us. But in return for that, you can achieve such things as holidays here, complimentary. So take a look at the site in the link below. In the description area, you will see links to more about this. Or please ask me any questions on this in the comments below. So, as you can see behind me, we can even run a swimming pool. The most commonly asked question is, how do you know how many solar panels you need and how many batteries you need? Well, the simple answer to that is, the way we did it was when we wanted solar, we went to a very reputable company and we told them everything we would have running at any one time. You also have a number on your fridge or your freezer, which will tell them the draw. And there are different rates of fridges, such as A+, AA, etc. So you want the best of these for running efficiency. Obviously now we have more Airbnb people and workaway people, so we are going to add some extra panels, and we're also thinking about adding some solar to the swimming pool, so therefore it could be taken the heat from the sun and extend the usage of this
for our guests that like to come when it's not so hot here, so they can still use the pool. So basically, write down everything you use. Think about things like your laptops, if several people will have them on at the same time. And if you have guests, of course, include those. And then when you write everything down, you take it to a company and they will work out for you what you need. We don't have television here. We don't bother with it. We just watch YouTube, which, by the way, is our only social media at the moment. We don't have time for anything else. And we like to be a YouTube channel where we give all our time to our viewers, regardless of whether they're patrons or not. Whereas other channels like to then, once they get patrons, they seem to spend all their time on them or on all their other social medias, forgetting the people who originally got them their views in the first place. So, as I say, take a look at all my links in the description below. So I hope this has been helpful to you. I'm sure there's many, many more things we have here that makes us off-grid and basic living. But when you live like it for so long, you forget what the norm is. So all the best to you. Please let me know your channels below if you live like this or if you're interested in living like this. And why not come and stay here, either as work away or as an Airbnb guest, so you can look at if you could live like this too. Let me know any products out there. As I say, send me anything if you can, and I will gladly use them. So thank you for watching. All the best to you. Until next time, Meraki.
So I hope you enjoyed that. Of course, it wasn't filmed very recently, so there are some changes. If you want any of the links or if anything I mentioned, then as I say, just comment below, tell me what you want, and I'll send you links or URLs so you can see straight away what you're looking for. Update on some of the things talked about there. I do have what you would consider now to be a normal phone. And that was because that little video camera you saw stopped working, and basically I had to have something. And because I do geocaching, which is going for walks, and you can find things on walks, I used to just take screenshots of where I was walking, and then I had to remember where you found the treasure. And obviously that was a bit difficult. So Mike was always worried about me getting lost because I wander and wander and wander. And then because we live very rural areas, and I used to wander through the woods. So Mike thought it was safer as well for me to have like a proper phone, and I can do geocaching following on my phone. And of course I can find my way back again. So I do use that now. So that's an update. The other thing that I must update you on was I mentioned, what was it? Oh, saying that Cyprus is not monetized videos. Now it is. You can get monetization in Cyprus. It was nothing to do with Cyprus that said no monetization. It was purely YouTube. And if you're ever setting up monetization, there's one of the screens you can go to and it tells you if your country is monetized, which it said Cyprus wasn't. And I fought for a long time with YouTube saying about why are you not monetized in Cyprus, where I had the government telling me we could be monetized. That is purely YouTube's wants. So I fought long and hard, and in my head, I kind of knew what the reason was going to be, which was incorrect. And if you know the history of Cyprus, you will know what I'm talking about. If you want to know more about what that is, then again, just leave me a little comment and I'll send you a link to where I explain things a little bit more of the history, which also explains why my village is abandoned and not registered as a village anymore. It's to do with the war of 1974 and our invasion. So political, so I'm not going into it again as I've explained it before. So I thought long and hard with them. And I also explained the fact to them that one of the things when you're setting up your monetarization is you have to put your address. Now, bear in mind, Cyprus couldn't be monetized. There were a few channels, not like a social YouTube channel like mine, just channels about other things, but they were in Cyprus. And I asked how it was possible they were getting monetization when they categorically state Cyprus could not be monetized. And they said they must have been given addresses in other countries. So, for example, they might be giving an English address. So I said it was very unfair of the fact that I was doing it properly, and I do live here. I don't have any other addresses, and I couldn't get money, whereas others were falsely claiming friends and relatives' addresses so they could be monetarized. And from that and other discussions, Cyprus is monetarized. Yes. So as I always say, do fight with the big companies. You might be the small person, but you have great power. And I think that's a lovely way to finish today's live. So don't forget, if you do like my lives, do give it a thumbs up so I know it's worth continuing doing lives. And don't forget, share this channel with your friends. So until next time, have a great weekend, and I'll see you here next week.